So today we're going to put together, I showed you at the beginning here, it's a little coffin box that is intended to be used as a little treat box for kids or a friend, family member. The list goes on. I really cannot tell you exactly who or what you create this for, but there's a lot of applications for it. So we have our base, and there is a bottom as well as a liner. And then we have our top, which again, depending on what pattern paper you select and you decide to use, which is fine, it doesn't matter, it's just one pattern. You don't need to worry about mixing and matching patterns. And then there's this little black piece and a couple little bats that we're either going to glue on or put together with some pop dots. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of inking, and actually because this is all black and because this is a pattern which is going to eventually be covered up with this piece here, we don't need to ink any of this. We're just going to hit the really bright orange pieces here with a little bit of rhubarb stalk, which is a nice deep red. Okay, and again, for those of you that are new to Dreaming Tree, if you're looking for a list of supplies that we use, actually, here, let me show you real quick. Dreaming Tree, here's our official app. This is what it's going to look like when you launch it on your phone. And if you go under supplies, you'll notice that inking, here we have the Memento inks that I use, and there's a direct link to them. It's through Amazon, but you can try to find them in other places. Anyway, a lot of the supplies, the majority of the supplies that we use, that we need to create our projects, are all in a handy little spot under supplies under Craft Central in the app, which is why you should get the app. Okay, but anyway, so we've got our little ink pad here. We dab it onto the actual ink itself, and with just a nice, smooth, repetitive stroke, one that you will eventually get really good at, we're simply taking and transferring the ink that we have on our little felt applicator onto the surface of the cardstock here. Okay, now you may not be able to see this very well. Yeah, you can see it. I can see it in my little preview here. Especially when it comes to Halloween and even Christmas and some projects that are kind of vintagey, inking is really fun. And when we were having some website problems recently, I was very, very stressed out and high-strung. And when we got our new product in, when I got it from Diana, when I sat down and started inking, literally all of my troubles and stresses went away. I know that a lot of you have echoed that sentiment, and you feel the same way. When you get into your craft room, it's just, the problems of the world kind of all melt away. Anyway, I don't want to get into too much of that. But anyway, we're just taking and hitting the orange cardstock here with a little bit of, it's a nice dark red, just to kind of give it a little bit of a gradient feel, add a little bit of dimension to this so it's not so black and white, so to speak. I know it's orange, but what I mean by black and white is that, when you see black on white, if it's literally just black on white, it's not very interesting to your eye. This is really adding a lot of texture and dimension to just these little areas, and it makes it more interesting to your eye. And maybe even on a subconscious level, you may not completely understand, or especially the person that receives it, if you gift it, they may not completely understand why it looks so good, but you do, because you know that you've done some things to please their eyeballs in ways that they wouldn't be pleased if you just used a solid cardstock. It's a very subconscious thing, I think, anyway. Okay, so I could go on and on with the inking. You can ink as much as you want. I mean, yeah, I'm going to leave that alone. I don't want to overdo it. I never really want to overdo it. So that's inking for you. And really the next thing is just to put this together. So we're going to start off by, well, you might as well just start off with some paper piecing here. For those of you that missed it, I had my girlfriend's daughter on with me the other day, and she put together one of our freebies. I think I put it away. I know a lot of you saw it. And one of the reasons I wanted to do that was to give you some ideas on how to get your kids involved, especially with the way that the world is right now. Some fun way that you can maybe get some stress relief and bond with your kids. You can do that. And then I also wanted to show that. Anyway, I'm going to jump around here. We're putting the black part onto the orange background, the shadow layer here. I wanted to show that because she is 7 years old, and we have done paper piecing projects where everything is flat before, and she was very good at that. She's kind of a natural artist, but her dexterity is not that very good. Not that good, but she was able to put together a 3D project, and I kind of subconsciously wanted to illustrate that if she can do it, and literally anybody can do it. I know that she can't operate a Cricut machine yet. She doesn't have, you know, the aptitude to do that, but you guys do. So don't be afraid to try these 3D products. All right, back to the bats here. Obviously, this is pretty self-explanatory. We're going to take the black portion and simply glue it to the orange shadow. These are very delicate pieces here, so you don't need to put a ton of glue on them. If you happen to get a little extra glue on them, you can always just kind of wipe it off with your finger and get that right into place. And again, you know, especially, here's the fun thing about creating for kids is you don't need to worry about perfection. They're probably not going to notice it. They're going to look at the overall picture and just be excited by it. So if you goof up, it's okay. You know, maybe if you're new to this and you want to get into it, just tell yourself that I'm going to make this for a child, and they're not going to see the imperfections. They are very forgiving and just very happy with just the sentiment and you know, the expression of giving alone. You don't need to worry about perfection. So maybe use that to kind of, you know, push you to kind of get involved in this stuff, because at the end of the day, it is it's good for your brain, it's good for your body, it's good for your mind. Okay, all right, so last little bat here, and that one's kind of tiny. It's okay though. Now the funny thing about this one is, this freebie, since we don't have a video for it, this freebie was actually created before Ron and Diana were actually on my team. All right, so we're gonna put the bottom together real quick here, and you can see this strip here. I've already pre-folded everything. You'll notice that at one end we do have this little tab here. I'm going to start by putting a little bit of glue on this tab, and I like to use my finger to spread that glue out, get it nice and consistent on the entire tab. And then we'll bring it over to the other side and just connect it and press and hold. Now I know this is maybe a little boring for a lot of our seasoned veterans of Dreaming Tree. You've put together so many tabs, I'm sure, but still want to show it. I have to have some substance to my live streams. I can't just blab the whole time. So you can see now we've got sort of the basic shape of our coffin. And with this guy here, this is before we started adding labels. You'll take these two black pieces and put them on top of each other, and you can tell which one's a little bit bigger and which one's a little bit smaller. The smaller one is going to be a liner. We're going to put that off to the side for just a moment, and we're going to take this and we're going to anchor this to one of the sides first. So I'm going to start with this side here, and we're going to throw some glue right on this tab. I'm going to spread that out to the very edge. I'm very particular when it comes to making sure that everything looks nice and crisp and is nice and aligned. So we'll get that part lined up. You can pretty much see the shape of the box and what it's supposed to look like and how this piece is going to fit on top of it. Whoops. we go. So press and hold that into place. And once we, Tracy says I don't blab. I feel like I do sometimes, but I know that I watch a lot of content on YouTube, and there's so much polished content on YouTube, which is fine. I don't think that that works very well with these projects because there's so much going on with these. So I try to keep it as natural as possible. I know I never did this, but for some reason, when you guys watch my videos, you think of Bob Ross, and looking back at Bob Ross, you're right, we do have a similar style. So anyway, we're going to put glue on the rest of these tabs, kind of spread that glue out to the very edges. You can either spread it like you're spreading butter on some bread, or you can kind of dab it. Still gets the glue all over the place, and that's fine. And then we're going to take this and fold it down. Try to align it with the bottom first, and if you need to, this one's kind of weird because it's 5 or 6 sided. Get it lined up with the bottom first, and then use your fingers, if you need to, kind of nudge the walls in a little bit. Just give them a quick press. Make sure that the very, very tip of the edge is making good contact, and then you can flip it over, press down on the tabs inside. Okay, again, keep in mind that I'm making this for kids. Don't worry about perfection. They're probably going to be more interested in what's inside, but of course, I think subconsciously, they'll appreciate the presentation. If it's not perfect, don't stress out about it. Just get lost in the process, enjoy it, and then especially enjoy the looks on their faces when you're all said and done and give it to them. Okay, so the main structure is complete. We're going to take a little bit of glue, throw it around the perimeter, a little bit on the inside, then your final little black piece here, we're going to pop that in there. It's going to help clean it up. Now, if you're making these for your coworkers, you better get up early, you better get some coffee in you, and you better make sure everything is perfect. Otherwise, they're just going to be like, well, you know what, Doreen? Nope, not good enough. I'm kidding. Kidding. They're going to appreciate it too. So we're going to put the liner in there just to clean it up. Also helps kind of stabilize the project. So that's that. And then we have the little lid. And fortunately, if you can put this together, you can put this together. It's essentially the same thing, except that the wall is just a little bit thinner. Okay, so we have this one tiny little triangular tab here, and we're going to throw a little bit of glue on that. Maybe a little bit more difficult to see because there's a pattern on there, but nevertheless, you'll see it once you actually cut it out, and just connect that to the other side, the only side that you could possibly connect it to, and give that a second to set. Okay. You can see that it kind of just naturally takes on the shape that it needs to. And then just like we did with the bottom, we have 2 different pieces here. One is a little bit bigger than the other. Obviously, this piece, the larger piece, the wider piece, is going to go on the face here, and we're going to take this piece and put it inside to reinforce the inside and make this a little bit thicker. Okay, so I'm going to start with, you can start with the bottom or the top, doesn't matter. I'm going to put my glue up here. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, after the assembly, let me just pause for a second, totally spaced out. After the assembly, I'm going to do a little Q&A, and I always wait to the last minute to announce that, and nobody has any questions. So in between now and the end of the assembly, if you have some questions for me, they can be related to anything at all. Go ahead and post them. Mike is kind of writing them all down, and then he's going to text them to me so I can answer those questions at the end of the segment here. So if you have any questions pertaining to anything, shoe size, what color my underwear is, what I have for breakfast, or anything. I mean, not really those things, but you know what I mean. All right, so we're going to take this piece here. Did I grab the right one? No, I didn't. No, grab the wrong one. My bad. You want the larger piece. Sorry, I got distracted with talking about my underwear, which is kind of weird. I'm sorry I brought that up. I was trying to be funny, but that's kind of creepy, so didn't mean to do that. All right, so we're going to glue that to that top tab, just like we did with the base. And then finally put our glue on the remaining tabs, just like we did with the base. I'm going to spread that glue out to the very edges here. Whoops. This piece is very thin and flimsy. It's not even 80-pound cardstock, I don't think. So it kind of wiggles around a little bit more. You may want to just place it on your surface so that it's easier to work with. And then just like we did with the base, we're going to take this and bring this down and line it up with the very bottom, opposite of the side that we connected initially. And just make sure that that is lined up first. And then work our way around the rest of the perimeter. Very simple. Just a few tabs. And I feel very confident in saying this, but if you can make this, you can pretty much make anything from our website as long as you just follow along with me. Okay, so now you can see there's our lid. Here's our little liner that's going to go inside, and rather than just having it all white in there, I'm going to throw a little bit of glue in there and take this pattern side and pop it in there. If we can, why not add a little bit more color and interest into our project. Okay, so there you have that, and now you can see that that's going to go on there very nicely. Beautiful, very simple. Now finally, we're kind of on the final stretch here. We're going to take our beautifully inked moon. I like a nice orange moon that hangs low in the sky, especially on an autumn evening with the trees in their full glory there. I'm going to line that up with the corner. You can see the little edges there to help you with the alignment. Pop that in place. And that already looks really cool. And then finally, we've got this piece here. And there are some well, thin areas, but you can absolutely adjust your squeeze and your grip to make sure that you don't overdo it with the glue. And just start with making sure that you get your glue in the larger areas that are going to do the bulk of the work here as far as staying on. And then obviously if you want, you can just add a few little dots here and there just to make sure that these little areas, these fine details, don't come pulling off and getting ripped off on accident. Okay, I'm going to pop that right onto the top of our coffin box. I don't know if you guys can hear all the kids screaming in the backyard. Our backyard is pretty popular in this neighborhood. And there you have it. Okay, that looks really cool too. And the inking, I knew it, as always, really sets it off and just really makes it interesting. It's like it makes it high definition or something. I don't know how else to explain it. Okay, so we're almost done with that. Let me see where we are here on my... Yeah, so a couple options here. These are Zots. These may work really well. They're very thin. And then by the same company, this is Thermal Web. They have 3D Zots, or we can glue them. And you know what? Without looking at the photo, I don't remember exactly where these little bats go. Completely optional too. You don't even need to use them. But I'm just going to throw a little Zot on here. Come on off here. And we're just going to pop him right on there. And I'm just going to go kind of back and forth here to show you that there are many options. Obviously this Zot, way too big for him, but you can just rip off a little bit and kind of roll it around, make it a tiny little ball, pop it right on that cute little bat's belly, and we'll throw one up here. And then if you want to, as a third option, just take that one, whoops, wrong glue bottle, and just throw a little bit of glue on that one, and you can glue this one down flat, whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter. You can take a look at our website to see how we place them, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. This is where you can just decide, hey, my bat is flying up here towards the top. It doesn't matter. Either way, really cool, really quick, really fun. And actually Halloween's on a Saturday this morning, so I'm thinking put a little goodie bag together for the kids. Obviously they'll be getting one of these. And there's some other 3D projects that we've made recently that I'll probably gift them just to make their day more special. Trying to keep them as innocent as possible so they don't grow up, thinking the world is as scary as it is. Obviously, they need to know that, it is a little scary. You got to have your things together and take care of your business and work hard and all that, but we don't need to scare them unnecessarily, especially at this age. So anyway, that's it for the assembly. Hey, thanks for crafting along with me. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out some of our other videos, and also please consider hitting that subscribe button. And don't forget to visit our site and check out our free SVG section, where we have over 140 free SVG files complete with assembly videos. I look forward to crafting with you soon.